$2,000 was like for you,
and my wife.
your wife, okay. So that, it'd be around the same thing.
Well, but you don't have to stay in that hotel.
Of course,
You
yeah.
don't have, yeah, you can get cheaper flights.
Right. You can do cheaper flights, cheaper hotels, like all that kind of stuff too, but yeah.
All right, guys, at 6:15, I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. First order of business, we would like to welcome our newest member, Rob Smith. Rob, thank you for volunteering for this. We appreciate you being here.
Glad to be here. I will listen a lot and learn. If you need me to do something specifically, please tell me. Don't assume I know.
Perfect. Is your microphone on? Do you see a green light?
I see a green light.
Press it in the center. There you go.
Oh, there
Yeah.
it is. Okay, now it's on. Got it. Perfect. Okay. So I know how to work the microphone now. Thank you.
Perfect. And on that same note, I would like to say thank you for Carl Peabody's time that he served on the board and everything that he did as well. So, all right, moving on down. Number 3, consideration of the minutes from the October meeting. Did anyone have anything to add, amend, or anything? If it all looks good, do I have a motion?
Move to adopt the minutes as presented.
Got a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Sandy with a second. All in favor? All right, moving on down to old business. The secretary position has come back up. Any feedback on that, guys?
We were going to consider one of the applicants for that. I guess that, have we not discussed that enough, or that didn't pan out, or?
I think one was going to come to last month's meeting and did not in that instance, I believe. I know it's been mentioned if we just want to have Ms. Doyle do it in her position as being here, potentially. I don't know if that's a viable solution.
I'm okay with it.
So any feedback or if we want to extend that back to some of the applicants that we have, if we want to offer that position, we'll take feedback from y'all.
I'm okay either way. I've mentioned it to a couple of people, but it doesn't seem like anybody's really has time on Mondays or anything like that. That's the only problem I see, or like their schedule or availability is just hard. But
I'm kind of like that. I've talked to one or two people, but it's I think it's a bad time. It's been holidays coming up, and they're like, oh, I just don't have time for this. I don't have time for this. And it's like, we understand that, but it's, so I don't know. I mean, I'm fine with it either way as well. If, you're up to it, then, you're here.
Michael, any opposition?
I would say we continue as we are right now, but leave that open in case somebody comes up that's interested or is suited for that position.
Okay. So we'll do that if you're okay with that, Mr. Doyle. For now, you'll continue and we'll address it as it comes up. All right, and then the next option, I guess, is the consideration for an attorney. I did not know that an attorney on the board could not serve as our actual attorney, so that was my thought if we got someone in that position, but that is not a viable solution. So in that case, we do need to entertain that idea of finding someone in the event that we need to, whether it's as needed or if someone is truly going to be in that position and then just paid as needed.
Andy, I did have a meeting with the mayor last Wednesday about the Downtown Development Authority and mentioned that to him. So he and the city manager are going to look into that as well. And I told him I had asked a few people. And I did talk with Matt Pilgrim, and he wanted to know, what the attorney would do and the authorities, and I gave him the definition of what the authority can do, the powers, and I haven't heard back from him, but I know that they are meeting with David Mecklin the end of this week, and that's on their agenda.
Do we know how the compensation is arranged?
I do not.
Okay. So we'll wait and probably next month get more feedback on that meeting. Okay.
Would be January.
That's
You all
true.
don't meet in December, so maybe January we'll have a attorney by then.
Well,
Okay.
I do have a question about it as well. Like Mike, has there been one in the past? Because if I remember correctly, when I came on, we were using the city attorney or something, and we couldn't do that. There was a conflict in that. Am I remembering that correctly, or
So
not?
Stacy was the attorney, but she and the city attorney worked in the same law office, and I guess conflict of interest with that. And
Okay, yeah, so that's why I was wondering if should we be, or is there anyone that maybe we should task ourselves to approach attorneys, or is that something that,
I
We
think
would-
talking to Pilgrim's office, I mean, being a local law office that has multiple people within it, if they have anybody that might have that interest. But again, I think if the mayor and city manager might have input on that as well.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of experience they need to have.
Well, it looks like real estate experience for sure. So if there's property the DDA wants to purchase, they'd have to understand bonds, that you took place on the Arbor Valley. Construction. That's what I remember, what I read, but.
that's why I was mentioning it, considering that, I know 2 or 3 real estate attorneys out in this area. I mean, if we've not or have or are going to approach them, I don't have a problem with that, if we want to go that route. But we can wait, if you want, to see what the city all comes up with. I'm just offering it out there if we need to.
I think it would be a good option. Sorry, Michael. I think it would be a good option, especially since you're like in the real estate field and you have to deal with like attorneys that close on housing and all that, real estate, obviously.
Perhaps an option would be to send those names to Elisa, and she can provide those to the city manager and David Mecklin, so that they can at least know that there might be some other people.
Sure. We can do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, if nothing further, we'll go on down to item C, the gateway signage updates.
Let me talk about it.
Sure.
Okay. This is something that I knew that had not been resolved by the DDA. When I came on, I did go back to the agendas and minutes and look at them for the last few years, and met with the city manager and the mayor about the DDA, and I knew that there was a couple things pending on the gateway signage. I found the application, I found the contract and the information on how much it's been paid and what the signage looked like. The city is in the process of rebranding. We've got a company that's working on this, which means the seal, the logo, and everything will change into a universal one. We feel like what we've got is outdated, and we want to go to something fresh and new. Even though history is still relevant and it's important, we're just ready to move to the next level because there's so many new residents in town. A lot of us, like me, who's lived here all our life, we're getting smaller and smaller in number. So we want to go somewhere fresh. So we had a meeting again today with this company. We're working on this process. It's going to come to a point where we have these 4 focus groups. So we do have citizens and business owners that can be on these focus groups and talk about what they would like to see, and then we will pick and choose what we got. So it's going to be a few months process. So I thought that since we've got that going on, and because Chris Pike was here at that time as the economic developer, and when I saw a picture of what the signage looked like, I thought it was kind of outdated to me. All it said was downtown Billerica. It didn't say welcome to or anything. It wasn't very welcoming. It just says downtown Billerica. So what I wanted to do was wait and see what we come up with on this, and see if we can utilize it in that signage. that would be much more refreshing and inviting to me. I can send you all a copy of what, if you haven't seen it, what that sign looked like.
Yes.
All it says is downtown Billerica, and it's placed in 4 areas. I like the idea of a welcoming sign,
Of course.
you know, something like that kind of makes you smile. This kind of looks rustic looking to me. So I talked to the city manager about it, and so this is one thing this company is doing. They were going to refresh the signage that tourism uses, but today we've decided just to go with something new. So either we can, if you all want to go on with this rustic sign, or wait till what we come up with to see and get that company to re-quote it, because we still owe the company money, and it's kind of on a standstill. It's also on a standstill because we've got 2 property owners who have not agreed, but I've been told that Dr. Burnett is ready to sign the agreement. We're to pay him $10,000 for that piece of land. But then the other one is on a property owner that I really didn't get a complete understanding if the property owner just said no.
Is that the church
It
one?
was the
if I'm
church on
sorry?
South Carroll
Yeah,
that the church needs to vote, and apparently they're not having physical meetings, so a vote is impossible.
well, I had heard it was either that or across the street.
The last thing I heard from Janet is she was unable to find a suitable alternate position for it because of drainage ditches and things like that,
Okay.
because it needs to be next to a power pole.
So the city manager asked me to get with the engineer and just look in that area and see if we can find an alternate location. We have not done that yet, but we're gonna do it this week. But I just wanted to give you all an update to see if you wanted to just move on with that sign or wait for the rebranding and see what we come up with on that.
I would say also in the potential for the location search, if we do any kind of rebranding and change the way the sign looks, that could change the shape of it or anything so that could give us more options on South Carroll.
Well, and I thought, you know, if you took them, yes, this is gonna be it, this is what we're gonna use, maybe it'll change their mind a little bit, I don't know.
Considering that I wasn't here, and obviously you're new too, when all of this gateway stuff, I have really, I feel like it's all over my head. I don't
So
really
you have
know-
not seen it?
I've
haven't
not
seen
seen
it
it.
either.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or where it was supposed to be, any of that kind of stuff to make a good decision on
Well,
whether or
I
not.
found the file last week when I was cleaning out
Okay.
some files, and I've got a copy of the picture of what the sign looks like, the measurement, so let me send it out to you.
Right, and I think the
And I got it
locations.
from Carl, how much has been paid and how much is,
So my question about that is if we go with a new design, are we gonna still have to use the same people, and is it gonna cost more money for them to
what
change?
Janet and I talked about is to get them to re-quote it, but I don't know. I don't really know the answer to that, it's just
Because I'm
kinda
thinking if
left
the
it-
city's gonna use a person to do signage that's different from whoever this is, it may be more
Well-
advantageous for us to do something else.
Yeah. I can send you all the sign, I'll send it to you and let you
That
look
was
at it.
awesome, thank you.
I'll give, I guess, the best synopsis I know.
With the locations
Yeah.
too?
Yes, okay.
I had no idea.
2 of them are set.
Yeah.
One of them has already given us, the property owner has given us permission. Burnett, Tom told me he has, but I have not gone to him. And then the other one, so.
Okay.
Burnett is the triangle down here where they put all those political signs, that's his property. The, one of the sign locations is at the three-way stop intersection of, what is it, Rockmart and 101 and Main, and 61, the three-way stop there. They had to actually lease a piece of property from the railroad there. We were looking for some place on South Carroll, and what was the 4th spot? Was it on
Oh,
78 coming into town?
Yes,
down
there's a rental house right, and on the back side of it is Dr. Burnett's Animal Clinic. and it's a rental house right on West Bankhead Highway. Before you get over to Cleghorn Street, which is across the street, it's that property.
Okay.
If you follow where I'm talking about. But the road right in front of it goes to Glanton Heinzman Elementary School. That's the other
Okay.
one. Yeah.
So I would say for sure the price is gonna go up because it's what, 5 years in the making of all of this. Materials alone have gone
And
up
cost of
tremendous
living,
with that. So I think that'll come into. I would say it would not hurt with the amount of time that we've waited if we wait and see what the rebranding does and if we can work that in any way. We don't need to put up signs that have anything old that aren't gonna match what the city's gonna be doing, in my
Right.
opinion, so.
Yeah, I agree.
And
that's-
especially the welcoming part.
Yeah.
I agree with Ms. Doyle there. You want to feel warm and welcome when you come
Yeah.
into town. So,
Something that makes you smile.
yeah.
Oh, goody, I'm in downtown Villa Rica. Okay.
But Sandy, as far as using that company, I think we're in it deep enough financially that it probably would make sense to go ahead and stick with them just because the deposit we've already put down with them for their design and input.
Yeah, that was the question, because I had no idea of what.
Significant. I
Is it-
think overall the project's 42,000, something in that ballpark, so.
Okay.
We've already paid half down towards
Okay,
that, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was in the same file as the gold miner.
Yep.
I saw that one too.
That's, I don't know that any of us, Michael, you weren't on the board you were on city council, I believe.
It was, I think it was going on before I got on city council.
Yeah, it was a DDA project.
Been a while, yeah,
Yeah.
none of
But that's
us
been
were
paid
on.
for, you know, the city council voted to
Yep.
finish paying that off.
All right, so we want to wait until we see some updated things, that sound like a plan?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, going down to the facade grant application, we were going to make some changes to that. Did you have input
Yes.
that was sent in?
I actually started looking at it, and then I started looking at this grant at other cities near us. So I have got an appointment with Ron Johnson tomorrow. He's our planning and zoning administrator. And I want him to look at it too, because it goes into design plans and things of that nature. So I just wanted him to take a look at it and look at our application, because you had talked about you would like this removed, but if we're talking about the design on the outside of a building downtown, we may get into some historic buildings, and this has to go before the HPC, Historic Preservation Commission, that he's in charge of. So I wanted to run this process by him first and let him take a look at it and see what he recommends. And there's a lot of other things I like to do on that too, on our website. It doesn't go into detail about this enough. And if you take a look at like the city of Noonan's, it's so much good information about this grant application. So I want to work with Ron and just see if we can redo this process and see what he thinks, what we can and can't do to that application.
Okay.
So I wanted to see if y'all could just hold off on that. So I've got an
Absolutely.
appointment with him tomorrow at 10 o'clock.
The only feedback I had on it was take away things that landlords should do anyway, paint the building, and, I mean, like, normal common things, you know, have it where a business is going to benefit from something that a landlord might not do that you might need to contribute towards, so.
Okay.
But yeah, we can definitely push that back and look at it after
Look
y'all.
at it in January.
We do have some landlords that are a little stingy.
That is correct.
Yeah.
All right,
But that's
so we'll-
okay with you all. I just wanted to go through our planning and zoning person, let him take a look at it.
It makes sense, and if we can gain anything from other cities, I'd be happy to see it. All right, I believe that concludes the old business, so we'll move on to the new business. Treasurer position, that was what Carl was in charge of, so with that,
Anybody have an interest?
I have a question really
Yep.
quick before we move forward. I know this was put on the, like, to be continued with the city, like, for the council, as far as moving boards and all that.
Can we pause that and we'll,
Okay, because
Address that in a
that's
little bit.
my question
Yeah.
with that for
No,
people.
it's great.
Okay,
That's item E under
Yeah, well,
5E.
5E or
Yeah.
6 and updates,
Right.
so yeah, we'll get to that.
okay, because
No, that's-
that for
it
me
might
goes
tie
hand in hand.
I understand. So yes, we do need someone to fulfill that portion with that,
Okay.
within our board, so. I do not have the desire to do the financial portion of that, so I know Rob has had previous experience with that.
Yeah, I don't have the skills to do what Carl was doing for this board. That's not in my skill set, nope.
Me either. I'm a realtor, come on.
Carl did say it was fairly easy if you knew how to work QuickBooks, but I don't do enough in QuickBooks
He's
with
got
that, so.
everything in QuickBooks.
Mhm.
Is he available to do, to sit down with? Could I reach out to him before I answer?
I would think, yes, very much. He would be definitely open to training whomever would do that. I do know he mentioned that. He's just not gonna throw it to whomever, so absolutely, I think if we,
I am willing to follow up with Carl and see, since it's in QuickBooks, if that's something I can pick up and manage.
okay. Y'all okay with that if we?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
All right, moving on down to item B, the downtown Christmas open house. Do you
Want
want
me
to
to
go?
talk about it?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay, years ago, the Downtown Development Authority, at that point, they were also Main Street. We didn't have a Main Street Advisory Board. But one of the things that they did do, they did a lot of things for the downtown businesses. They had an open house right around Christmas. I put it together, I put this together real quick just to help some of the businesses out because a lot of people do Christmas earlier. So I told Andy about it, and of course next year we'll do a much better job. But there were a good many people that came out. They stay open late, either on a Thursday or Friday till 7 o'clock. We advertise it, and it gives other people a chance to come in and shop. I know this side of town was just really, really busy. This one got busier later. In fact, Welcome Home ended up staying open till 9 o'clock because people that were eating dinner saw the stores open and came on over and shopped with them. So I would think that it was somewhat a success. But going forward, you know, we want to do it again closer to Christmas. I don't know if we want to do it the Friday after Thanksgiving, but I would like for this to be a project that you all do, that since most of you are business owners or downtown business owners, actually do this outside. See, Main Street and all them work on events. This would be something that we do to help the downtown businesses, get people to shop downtown, eat, dine downtown. And we can even do some other type of events during the year too. Like we could do Christmas in July. Now you see a lot of cities doing that now. It's some kind of program we can put together that we have, I don't know if shops are open late or we do it on Saturday morning and we just have a Christmas on Main. Some type of program to help the businesses. Now, one of my main jobs, what the mayor and city manager wanted me to do was to go and visit each downtown business. Today, I did visit West Georgia Clock Repair. It is a brand new business here. If you don't know where it's located, it is right down the road before you get to Evans Barbecue. And this gentleman has moved here from Hiram. He has moved his business here, and he works on old clocks, grandfather clocks, antique clocks. And he is a retired fireman from Cobb County. So I went by, visited him today. He's just moved back here from Temple. But if we could somehow or another get to really knowing our downtown businesses, visit them, see what they need, what kind of programs we can help them. I mean, we've got some grants out here. We could do a better job of talking and sharing about those. But find ways to get shoppers downtown. Basically, it's what this is. You know, I love to shop downtown. I mean, there's some things I can't do downtown. But I try my best to visit the restaurants, and that's what we want to do. You know, we got lots of people moving in here. With all this construction going on, we want to get them downtown. So any kind of thing that we can promote our downtown businesses, I would like for us to work on as a group. Basically, that's what that is.
I'm excited.
And another thing I tell you, I want to bring you up too. We've got a whole slew of Christmas wreaths that Jerry had in his store. So I've been hanging them up, and today I got permission to hang them up on Tom Large's empty buildings downtown. So I'm just going to hang up a wreath to make it more Christmassy. And I did talk to Donna and ask her when they were going to take the Gabe signs down off the store, because people still think they're coming. She says, no, they're not coming back. And I said, well,
They're not.
when are you going to take the sign down? So maybe that'll be soon. I know they only have so long to keep it up, but she did give me permission to put a wreath up there just to decorate it a little bit more. So just wanted to tell you all that too. We do have those wreaths that we can put on store business that don't have a wreath, or if they're empty, just to get it more festive.
Yes.
So.
Definitely need it.
I think the open house is a great idea. I think we do need to encourage more, obviously more forward planning with that. I think we can start early and come up with ideas for that. I know a lot of other places in towns, whether it's just a Christmas event or any kind of event, they'll do something enticing, like you get a, kind of like y'all are doing with the candy cane. You go and you get a stamp from somewhere where you've been, and if you complete all of them, you're entered to win something, or you get a prize, or you get something, some kind of enticing to go to all the businesses.
Yeah.
Because,
Right.
you know, I'm
And
back on the back
that's-
street, and
that's
people
kind of
might
what
not
I'm
come back and
talking
see
about,
us, or
some
conscious
programs
cravings.
that we can do as a group
Yeah.
to help our businesses downtown.
I'd tell you from a one-on-one, it would be greatly appreciated with that. I mean, it would be helpful to do. A lot of people don't want to, it's easy to click a couple of buttons and put some in a shopping cart, but small businesses make this downtown, and any downtown.
Yes, it does. And it is very easy to shop online. It is, but at the same time, if you don't have these small businesses downtown, you're not going to have it downtown. So we need to support them as much as we can.
Any thoughts about a location for this open house?
Well, what we did then, it was just in each individual store. That, I haven't gotten that far. Andy and I just
You know,
talked about
Rise
it.
and Shine meets at Uncorked. The venue is not available anymore, so I'm not sure where you would have a place for a meet and greet kind of open house for.
Well, Main Street is moving to Cinema Tavern for 2023.
Yeah, the Rise and
meet.
Shine meeting will be
Yeah.
at Cinema Tavern.
Yeah,
It'll
that's
start
what I
in
meant to say, Rise
December,
and Shine.
right.
Yeah, I was thinking
Yes.
about Amy and her merchant meetings and how that aligns with what we're doing, what you're talking about here, Alyssa. I thought the November 11th event turned out great. In fact, I think we ran into each other.
Yes, we did.
My wife and I stayed on Main Street. We didn't get across to.
I tried to get both places, but I had my grandson with me,
Yeah.
and you know how that is.
And Main
He's
Street
trying to
was
pick
covered
up and shop everything.
Yeah, we shopped and ate. We didn't
Yes.
eat and shop. We shopped and
It was
ate.
kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The weather was not great.
No, it was cold.
Yep. And it had rained that day.
I
so-
did it earlier, but I really, really think we should push it closer to Christmas, maybe the Friday after Thanksgiving or the Friday before the Christmas on Main event. You know, sometime when everybody's really in the Christmas shopping spirit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I would suggest the day after, because that's the Black Friday. Everybody goes shopping and everybody does stuff. I don't know that you would get as much participation on that day.
Isn't Saturday called a shop local day?
Yes.
Shop small.
And I
shop
did
small.
did
Yeah.
advertise that. I
Yeah.
advertised that in the Main Street newsletter. I put it on social media, and I noticed that there were a couple of businesses downtown that did the same thing. In fact, Home Furnishings had told me she was closed all week. Well, then she opened up on Friday and Saturday and advertised small business Saturday as well. So I was glad to see that.
She had a crowd too.
Yes.
Yeah, and I usually try to post everything on our Instagram, the Los Cowboys one, but somebody flagged us. I don't know why. So we're temporarily on hold
Oh,
right now.
my. And I do want to tell you, too, if you don't know, Sassy Ladies will be closing up
Yeah,
at the
I
end of
heard
the
that,
year.
too.
They did post it on their social media, but they do have someone that's supposed to be going in that location, so.
Yeah, Michael, I think the idea of having a event that people come to might be okay, but I think if we had it where they could, like this event, just go to the individual stores would be better for the actual businesses, because it's hard sitting at a table or just handing out cards of what you are if people are not coming in your store to truly know. So, but I think if we entice them with some kind of,
Yeah, we just,
Stamps
everybody
or
just
giveaway
think
or
about
something.
it, and we can talk about it
Yeah.
at each month until we come up
and
with
as you're
something.
talking to business owners, asking,
Yeah,
and
if you
what
see a
would that
new
help? Yeah.
business popping up, see, I didn't know he was there until the sign went up, and he's been there since October.
Wow.
So tomorrow, when I'm over at the community development, I'm gonna talk to Nairi and Jackie, who actually do the business licenses, to be sure and shoot me an email when a new business pops up.
Yeah, that'd be
So,
good.
and I can keep you all informed as well, so. And you, it's a small business or part of DDA, if you're downtown, go by and speak to them, introduce yourself.
Is this something that we could tie in with the accessibility grant that's going to make it easier to move back and forth across the tracks? That grant that Chris,
I don't know, I'd have to get with him and look at that more.
you know, if it's easier to shop both sides of town and they have some kind of a ribbon, I don't know what he's got in mind when those new access points become available.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be
What
something that we
he's
could.
come up with is absolutely beautiful,
Yes, it is.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was looking at those
Yeah,
today.
that's the issue we've got here, is many times you
Transition.
almost get hit in town. Especially right down here at Hickstown Brewing, at Donna's office, Home Furnishings. It's extremely busy right here, very busy. And, I mean, they're just flying back and forth, so.
All right, any other feedback or comments on that?
No.
We'll move on down to item C, open lines of communication business, probably back.
That's something that you came up with too?
I think, I mean, I remember when I first came on board, we were trying to go, each member get maybe a list of five or seven businesses and just go and truly introduce ourselves and, you know, have that line of communication with businesses. I think it's important. You see a lot of people that are quick to jump on Facebook and, you know, bash the city for, oh gosh, why don't they do this? Well, they don't come to meetings and they don't know. Not that we should be going out and updating them personally with all the things, but if we could get in front of people and have conversations with them to open lines of communication, hey, come out and give your input at a meeting, things like that, to let people know that there are boards that can help and give input and try to do better for the city and welcome the input of people. So I think that would be helpful if we could do that. I don't think it all falls on you for that communication between all the businesses. It's helpful, but, you know, I think we can make an effort with that as well.
I know we have our newsletter and email status, but I've not had the time to go in to make sure that all the businesses are in there that have email addresses, you know what I mean? Like the clock repair, I'm gonna enter him tomorrow, and I've told him, doesn't care for ribbon cuttings, but he doesn't mind me copying and pasting his photo onto introductions that he's in town, so.
Okay.
But I think even like Maury, where you're located, you know, just, you probably already have all the businesses down your street. They probably already know you anyway. But if somebody new pops up, you know, be sure and introduce yourself. And that's what I'm trying to do, is go around and pass out my cards and tell them about us.
Oh, I do it
Like
every day
Mr.
with
Priest, yeah.
almost every guest that we get. I even, like, right now, I actually was talking to one of our guests because she was interested in opening, like, a bakery. And, like, an upscale bakery. And she was looking for a spot in downtown. And I tried to help her. We even talked about, like, the venue over there, the spot that says for rent. But then they denied her because they said the building as is. They wouldn't add a kitchen or anything. So they weren't facilitating anything for her. And then I was telling her about the spot next to the gas station right here. But she says now it's just become more of a hassle with the city than anything for like permits and stuff. So she's going to be moving soon to South Carolina, I think she was telling me. So now she's like, I think I'm just going to put it on the back burner. And it's like not the first time that I've heard that with a couple of our guests, like trying to open up a business, that the city doesn't make it the easiest for them.
Would that be, you're talking about in the permitting department or?
She was just very like vague about it. She's just like, the city
Yeah.
just kind of gives me a runaround. And it's been a couple of guests who told me that.
So,
But this has been over, some guests have been like over the
see, if you
years.
can get that information to me, I can get with that department and work with their supervisor, their
Yeah.
department head, and see, you know, what's going on here, why.
Right.
Is the staff not calling them back or being vague, you know?
Right.
If you could get that to me, we'll get that
Okay,
resolved
I'll
real
ask
quick.
her and see if
Yeah.
she wants to tell me.
I know Nairi Simpson is, I know they're busy out there, but she's very knowledgeable
Oh, Naire's a great
about
people.
permits and
Yes.
all. So let's take the next step and get that to me. Or if you have to get it to your council person, you may could get it to your council person,
Right.
like Leslie. I believe she's all downtown.
Yeah,
Is that
she's
correct?
downtown.
And, you know, get that to us. If you
Yeah,
could do
I
that.
just know we have like a couple vacant spots in downtown. I just know a lot of landlords or anything, just sometimes they don't want to do the whole like remodeling or add or things like that, which sometimes is understandable too, depending on the cost of things. So, yeah. But then we do have like empty buildings sitting.
And
which
that,
is
and
not-
I'm coming up with a list of those two. I just found out, you know, what was open for Tom Large. So I'm doing some investigation, trying to come up with a list of empty properties for lease.
I have a
So-
question too on that. And this is a rumor that I heard. Again, guests, you know, they come and talk to us, they conversate. They did tell us that I guess Tom moved
Well,
or is moving, so he's selling.
He's been living in Arizona. He has a home in Arizona.
Oh, okay.
And last I heard, he had a home at Fairfield. And they
Right.
go back and forth.
And I heard that they went back and forth, but I heard that now it's going to be a more of a permanent transition, and he
That
was
I
going to
don't know.
sell.
I know
So
Donna.
I know just potentially for the downtown, knowing how many, like how much property he has in downtown. I know we were looking for buildings and properties.
Well, now Donna,
If that
his
becomes-
office,
yeah.
Donna, the offices on Main, she handles all
yeah,
of those.
she handles his
And is it his son or Pat's son?
it's Pat's son.
Pat's
Yeah.
son that works with that. But Donna, I mean, she was telling me all kind of information.
Yeah.
So we can get with her too.
Yeah, because I would say that would be a great potential buy for the DDA if he were ever to sell anything in our budget too, to get our hands on a potential
Well, that is,
downtown
I
building.
can tell you this, that is another thing that I'm working with the city manager, the mayor on, but we have to have an attorney to discuss that in executive session, which will be coming soon,
Okay.
hopefully in January. So stay tuned.
Yes.
And just on that, didn't Donna at one point, I'm thinking like when I first got on the DDA, didn't she put an application in to be?
I understood that she withdrew her
Oh, she did,
application,
Yeah.
right?
She
Okay.
did apply, but she did withdraw.
Okay, I thought I remembered seeing that, but.
I don't know why she withdrew, but I remember it in a meeting or heard it somewhere, because when the position I was in before, I had the software where we kept all the applications, so if you
Right.
send it to me, I scan it and put it in there, and then they said she withdrew it, so I withdrew the applicant. That's how I know those things. So, don't want to go into detail about that, but
Hey, I remember you got mine.
All right, anything else? We'll move on to item D, education and training for DDA.
yes.
So-
Andy mentioned that to me too, that probably, especially with the new members, would like some more like local DDA training. Now you've got did you ever take the DDA training? And Rob's got it, and it's a long training, okay? It's a lot, because I'm in it too. But I've talked with the city manager and the mayor about getting someone, even if we have to pay them to come here, to talk to you all about, I mean, on your terms, what you can do here, what you've got the power to do. They have someone in mind that they're going to be talking to. I had someone, and they had someone that would come here and maybe give you, we could have lunch and maybe a 2-hour meeting with them, and they're going to just teach you the basic things about DDA and what powers you have and what you can do and how you can work with the city on this, even though you've taken this long training that's required. Is that
Well, I mean, I think we do, yes, the training is very broad and overall and what is within the charter, within the state of what DDAs can do. So I think on a more local level of what Villa Rica can do and what we can do to work with the city and work with what we have to work with. We don't have a budget. We don't have money coming in to be able to do that. So how can we generate revenue and, you know, kind of learn those little tricks on how other cities have done that. I know you had the pleasure of going to a couple of cities when you were on council and otherwise to see how they did things and worked around, and I think it would be beneficial if we
And
could
the person that
do
they're
that.
recommending is an expert in this.
Yeah.
So they think that we can really learn from this person.
Dan McCrae came in 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
About, yeah.
and he talked more specifically about TAD, but he is the one that did, I think he's in every video of the state training, so.
Right.
He is the expert on that, but when he talks, it's in lawyer talk in a lot of cases. He tries to break it down a little bit smaller, but it's a lot of formal, technical stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, was I felt like that was a big overview of exactly what I'd already gone through in the learning process, because he actually put all that together from what I understood from Janet and so forth. But, yeah, I think having someone local, I agree with you, Andy, that would tell us, you know, as DDA relates to, how do we relate to the city council? How do we relate to, you know, how do we relate to all these different areas? What, responsibilities we have, or what we can do. I mean, you know, it's like, okay, if I meet with 2 or 3 of you for lunch, that's a meeting. We can't do that, you know, and it's like.
It's
you
an
don't-
open meeting.
Yeah, it's an open meeting, so you have to really be careful about certain things. And I might have an idea, but I don't want to wait till the meeting. So it's like, wait a minute, how do I do this? You need to really know exactly. So I think that would be a great idea if we have somebody that knows locally how to do all that stuff.
Okay, good. I think it would help everybody. You know, you can never get enough training,
No.
you know.
Nope.
Training, so.
All right, any other comments on that? So we'll add in, I guess, an E on that section. Michael wanted to discuss the, I guess, topic of what was discussed at city council work session.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the plan to merge Main Street and DDA. I was on Main Street for 5 years before I joined the city council. And I think they should have come talk to you to let you know what you're in for if they decide to move forward with that. They call Main Street the hardest working city board in Villa Rica, and that's absolutely true. I gave you a copy of their website. It's downtownvillarica.com/Main Street. And, you know, you can see some of the things that they do. They do an annual assessment according to their bylaws, and from that assessment, they develop a work plan. There's requirements on the board members. They do a community impact report. They have a grant program similar to what our facade grant is, but it's a boost grant. It's actually inside the building, not the outside of the building. I also included the bylaws here, and I highlighted a few places that, and of course, when I printed it black and white instead of color, so the highlight is darker, but it's still readable. The bylaws would have to be changed because it would limit how long a DDA member can stay on the board. And there's other things in here, like in the event a board member misses more than 4 regularly scheduled meetings during a calendar year, they shall be automatically removed from the board. So, I mean, that's pretty hard and fast, and I was there when they redid these bylaws, and that's because we had some dead weight. So I just, there's a lot of work, you know. Main Street puts on Gold Rush, they put on Christmas on Main, they put on 3 concerts a year, plus the Thomas Dorsey, well, they don't put on a Thomas Dorsey Jazz Festival, but they help a lot, because that organization is small, so they help a lot with that. Thrill at the Mill, and the Main Street board members and the volunteers in Main Street all participate in those things to make them work. So when they say it's the hardest working citizen board, it really is. And it doesn't look like they're going to merge it, but it wouldn't hurt if you looked at this stuff and formed your own opinion as to whether or not it would work for you, and let your city council member know what your opinion is.
I agree.
I don't
When is
see.
this, I'm sorry,
No, go ahead.
when is this on the agenda again for the council?
It's not.
It's not, well, the agenda for the next meeting hasn't come up yet. It was discussed and nothing happened at the last meeting.
Yeah,
but-
pretty vigorously discussed.
The mayor said that he assumed that somebody had talked to all the board members.
He assumed that we had all been emailed since his sister had been emailed.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
The mayor's sister is the president of Main Street Advisory Board, so I don't know what the end game was, why this came about, but I'm already on 3 boards. I don't need to be on a 4th board, especially the busiest board.
Right.
Well, my take, I mean, the only question I have is, what are the advantages for the DDA? Or, you know, to be merged with Main Street? Because Kelly's on that board, I know how busy she is, and what she does with it. Not that I'm opposed to doing any work, because I'm probably always there helping her anyway. But the point is, you know, what advantage would it be for the DDA to be merged? And who actually would make that decision?
That was going to be my statement. I don't see any benefit to that merging of the two, because they do a great job of what they do at Main Street. Those people are dedicated to doing that, and I don't know what any viable benefit would be.
Yeah, Tom Barber mentioned that they're having trouble getting volunteers to serve on the boards, but I don't see how moving the Main Street board to CVB and then combining Main Street responsibilities with DDA responsibilities and putting it on us, I don't see how that helped get more volunteers.
No, it takes away 7 people.
You know, so yeah. There was obviously some behind-the-scenes discussions that none of us are aware of. So I don't know how it came to be or what the prompting factor was, but I'm not sure any of us are ready for that kind of extra responsibility.
And also, I feel like everybody who applied to a board, each person applied to those individual boards. So like when I applied for the DDA, I applied for the DDA, not DDA and Main Street, because I do know that I have a busy schedule. And as all of you guys do, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I wish it would have been brought to our attention before it would have been something that would have been voted on if we wouldn't have found out. And it potentially would make, I feel like, a lot of people just want to back out because it's putting a lot more on their plate that they didn't sign up for. So I feel like I'm fine with just the DDA, honestly.
Well, you know, like Andy said, you know, take a look at everything, or Michael said, and let your city council person know,
Yeah.
because it'll come up again. But the mayor told me that he just didn't think we needed to do anything right now. But I don't know. It may come up in
Right.
January. I don't know. I haven't seen the agenda. I don't think it's ready yet.
All All right, so we'll move on down to number 6, and that kind of encompasses a little bit of this. I just thought this would be a little benefit for us, just to get a quick little summary of the meetings from council, just so if there was anything pertinent to what we do, and if we can kind of piggyback off of anything that they've approved and go forward if we don't see it live or if we don't see the updates as we go. So I just had that added just in that event of having an option to get things in front of us if we want to talk about anything.
Yeah, what I attached to, on this packet was the action summary that the city clerk does right after a council meeting. And it's just a summary of what action the council took at the meeting. And attached is the October and the November. This is not the minutes. This is just the action summary. If you want, online, you can go into this packet and look at every one of the documents. And if you want to know how to get there, I can show you how to get that. So you can look at the documents that were presented with this item if you don't have time to look at the council meetings or go to them. And then the Historic Preservation and Development Authority, I attached those agendas, however, both of those meetings were called off, were canceled. So just let you know what was on their agenda.
I would say if you do have the extra time, it would be good for you, just education-wise, to go out and watch the videos for the work session and the city council meeting. It takes some time. The work session was over 3 hours. So, but it's educational, and you pick up some things that are going on in the city, begin to understand some of the more complex things going on in the city. It's worth the time if you can find it.
And that's exactly what I tell citizens when they ask things, and they'll ask about it. Well, I say, well, the council just talked about that. If you'll go to such and such and listen to the video, you'll see that they're talking and working on the same things that you're complaining about.
Yep.
So, but it is on the website where you can take a look at all the documents. Everything's out there. So if you don't know where that is, just ask me and I can show you where that is. So.
Anything further on that? If not, we'll move on to public comment. I see no public. We'll move on down to last item of adjournment, if I have a motion.
Move to adjourn.
Any second?
I'll second.
All in favor? We'll call.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
You turn it on, you can turn it off, right?
Guys, I will leave you because they are busy.